This video is sponsored by Card Kingdom. If you want Magic singles or sealed product, use my link in the description. Hello everyone, doing another Avatar draft during the early access event. Thanks to Wizards of the Coast for the invite. This isn't very good and limited. Pay 5, don't add to the board. Don't have like amazing non-basics to search up. Just not worth doing. Firelord Zuko I think is pretty good, but I think you like need to be in a deck that's good at airbending and then splash it, not pick them up and hope you pick up airbending, because you need to cast things from exile to really go off with them. And there's ways to do that, like airbending, but there's not enough that you can just take it and think that the average power level of Zuko will reach that level. I do think Momo's great. Like, 1-drops that do a whole bunch of stuff are good. It is good with airbending, but it's also just a good 1-drop. Good in the sacrifice deck. It's just a really good creature. This can be really good if you, especially if you end up close to mono red. I'm kind of leaning towards Momo. Like, this pack's not very strong. I think Hama's pretty good, but you either have to end up in like a very blue or a very black deck or a blue-black deck, or you can't cast it because of the hybrid thing. Okay, so, excuse me. I think Katara's Katara Bending Prodigy has some potential. The words draw a card are on her, and you can tap things that aren't lands to pay for it, so that's hard to be upset about. Heartless Act is a great removal spell. If we wanted to try to stay white, which I don't think we do have the Enthusiasts here, but don't love the 3-mana 2/2 starting stat line at all. I think we're kind of looking at Katara and Swamp Snare Trap, and I'm leaning towards Katara. Like, this is the kind of card it's easier to know how good it is. It's a removal spell. That's not great, but it's not terrible. Katara has this mechanic that we haven't quite seen before, and she has like this value engine potential, but there's a question as to how frequently you can reach that level. Heartless Act, same kind of thing. It's just a really good removal spell. We know how good it is. One could take it here, but I'd like to try this card if we can. We do have a Forecasting Fortune Teller here. Great with water bending. Makes a clue. There's also an Earth Kingdom Jailer, which I think is just better. Like, even if we don't end up in a water bend deck or a clue deck or whatever, it's just really good value. These both are. I do think the Fortune Teller is going to be really good in any blue deck, just because it's such good value. But this doesn't really get worse, you know, depending on the deck it's in at all. It's just like a creature with a removal spell stapled to it. So I think we take it here. Okay. Some decent white cards here in Jiang's Deserters and the Captain, which is good, especially if you can go wide. Serpent of the Past, pass. You know, I would like to draft a lesson deck at some point. It could happen. Don't know that it's necessarily going to happen right now. But the spell decks, you know, those look really fun to me. And this is a pretty good payoff for doing the thing, but it's really bad if you don't end up in that deck. So I'm sort of thinking about picking up one of these. You know, they're both allies, so they're good with ally stuff. One of them's a little better if you're going wide. One of them's a little better if you're looking for counters. I think we take the Captain. You know, that mass pump effect is pretty good. So another Avatar Enthusiast, still not very excited about it. I do think Corrupt Court Official is good. There's a pretty late Firebending lesson. I think I'm actually going to pick that up. You know, I could take a pretty good white card in Path to Redemption. It's an adequate, you know, decent removal spell. It is annoying that it doesn't fully remove things necessarily. And maybe it is what I'm supposed to take here, but I feel like this is such a clear sign that red's open that I'm going to reap the benefits of picking up Firebending Lesson more than, you know, taking a decent card. So let's take the Firebending Lesson and see what happens. Okay, there is a decent red card here, not a great one. Pretty good green card still here, but there's also Lost Days, which I think is just a good removal spell. Also a lesson, and that can come up. Don't want the Enthusiast. You know, I guess if you end up with enough really cheap allies, it gets better, but this set is interesting because it has so many 3-mana 2/2s that get better when something happens, and those are usually terrible cards, but are they really all going to be terrible in this format? I don't know, but I'll take the good removal spell here. Okay. So Combustion Man's okay. Not, you know, anything close to Firebending Lesson. Same for the Cadets. Could pick up Cat Owl. 4 mana, 3/3 is another one of those sketchy stat lines, though, even with a little bit of upside. Blue-white is kind of the flying deck, but there's not that much flying stuff. It's kind of like a water-bending flying deck. Mongoose Lizard, I think, is pretty good. Yeah, it's coming down to these two cards. I mean, I'm thinking about taking... The Cat Owl also strips this card of all blue and white cards, and it's certainly playable, so taking it out of that pack is probably worth something. All right, well, now there's a Lightning Strike, so we're just going to take the red card here. I guess there's a world where we swerve into blue-red. Wouldn't hate that. I did mention that wanting to be the deck I wanted to make. I don't think this is the greatest signpost. The Power 4 deck is usually difficult to make work. It's not bad. Like, you'll play it in every red-green deck, right? But I don't think it pulls you into it at all. This is also a pretty good little card for multiple decks, but we'll take Lightning Strike. If we're going to pick 7 Lightning Strikes and, like, what was it, pick 5 Firebending Lessons, like, I'm gonna take them. We haven't seen, you know, none of our white cards. I mean, Earth Kingdom Jailer's pretty good. I would try to splash it, probably. It's that good if we end up in a deck that isn't white, and it's kind of looking like we won't. So, Solstice Revelations here again. You do need to be very red to get full advantage out of it, and I don't know if we're going to do that. Wandering Musicians is okay. Buffs your whole board when it attacks. That is the red-white theme. Rough Rhino Cavalry is just like a nice top curve 5 mana thing to have that can get bigger. I think we take it. All right, so there is a Fire Nation Cadet here. Also a first-time flyer, which is okay. We have like 1 lesson right now. You know, it needs to be a 2/3 consistently to really be good. This is pretty good fixing. So if we were going to splash Earth Kingdom Jailer, let's say, it's a way to do it. And the Cadets are okay, but they're not great. I'm sort of thinking about just taking the fixing. I think this land's like worth a reasonably high pick just because of the fixing. We'll take Jet's Brainwashing here. If we end up in blue-red or red-white, it's pretty good. It either makes something unable to block or turns into a threaten effect, and regardless of which mode you end up with, it gives you a clue, which is good. All right, we'll take a Freedom Fighters here. Seems like red-white is more open than like blue-red is to me. And this is going to be a card that I think really powers red-white decks because it gives you those 2 bodies, and it's a common. You know, you'd play multiple. But yeah, we got some quality red cards fairly late, including the Freedom Fighters. We'll take the Earth Rumble Wrestlers, because if we end up in red, we might play them. And then there's a Geyser Leaper, which I don't think is great. All right, well, now we get Suki, Courageous Rescuer, really strong, gives +1/+0 to your whole board, and then if a permanent leaves in any way, shape, or form during your turn, that's an important thing, you also get an ally. It's good. There's also another Lightning Strike and a Fire Sages, and an Abandoned Air Temple, and a Water Tribe Captain. Those are all things I'd love to see wheel. But I think she is better. You know, she's just a great 3-drop that augments the board and makes so many situations way worse for your opponent. So I do think it's safe to say you guys aren't making it, and we may not play the Hideout now if we're going to end up in white, because the only card I had so far that I would splash in white was the Jailer. So red-white's just like a go-white aggro deck, pretty straightforward. Has a little bit of ally stuff going on, but it's not a huge theme. Mostly you just want to play cards that make more than 1 body and buff everything. Speaking of cards that make more than 1 body, we do have a Kyoshi Warriors here. This pack is really strong if we're thinking about blue still. We've got Accumulate Wisdom, becomes 2 mana, draw 3. If you have 3 lessons in your graveyard. Otherwise it's Anticipate, which is adequate. The Mechanist spits out clues, can animate tokens, artifact tokens into 3/1 flyers. Both of those are amazing, and certainly way better than Kyoshi Warriors. I do think at this point we have enough good red and white cards, and both seem to be open enough that I should just commit. Even though both of these cards have really high ceilings, if I don't really end up in the right deck, like one with a lot of non-creature spells or one with a lot of lessons, they're not good. And Kyoshi Warriors is always a 4 mana 3/3 that gives you a 1/1, which is exactly where we want to be. I don't think this is good at all in limited. You know, it's cool. People are going to play it to 0-30, you know, but it still dies to a lot of stuff. And you kind of need your board to already be good, or it doesn't really matter that your stuff's indestructible. Air Nomad Legacy, if we were going to end up in blue-white, you know, that's the big payoff for that. Probably going to take Path to Redemption. Not a big believer in Deserter's Disciple. We've seen so many 2-mana 2/2s that can tap to make something small and blockable be bad. I mean, you basically end up tapping 2 cards to do 2 damage. And sure, you throw in Firebending and stuff, and there's some more upside, but it's still not very good. I don't hate the Battle Fan, but I think it's better in like a sacrifice deck than in this one. We'll just take the good removal spell. Okay, so we've got Enter the Avatar State, which is a really good trick. Good in combat and good against most removal. We've got another Treetop Freedom Fighters, which gives us those 2 bodies we like so much. War Balloon, if you're good at Firebending, is an okay card, and if you're not, it's probably not worth playing. Farm Animals aren't bad, but I think we're looking at Enter the Avatar State and Treetop Freedom Fighters. We do definitely need more creatures, but we need like 2 and cheaper ones even more, which Farm Animals would fit, but I think this is going to be really good. It's just going to blow out so many removal spells and combat tricks and combats in general, so I think it's what we take there. Okay, so we do have Jeong the Deserter and Jeong's Deserters. I don't know much about Avatar, so that seems confusing. He deserted people, I guess, but also people desert him, but if they desert him, why does it still have the possessive? I don't know. Anyway, another Treetop Freedom Fighters is, I think, what we want to take. Just something that makes 2 bodies is really good for us. This, if you can double a lesson, is sweet and is okay even when you can't. Like a 3-mana 2/3 with Firebending 1 that can exhaust into a 3/4. And I like that too, but I think we want lots of bodies. Okay, so speaking of lots of bodies, we have Fire Nation attacks. We do need to get some Firebending to really get to the point where it's like really good, but I think it's still an okay card. Abandoned Attachments is perfectly solid, so is Rough Rhino Cavalry, but yeah, I think we take Fire Nation attacks. Earth Kingdom Soldier is pretty good. Not really a believer in this. You know, it's got the Hill Giant stat line, and it has an attack trigger that is mediocre even when you do sack something, so we'll take Fire Nation attacks here. We do need to keep an eye out a little more for Firebenders, but other than that. Okay, so Fire Nation Cadets is here. Can have Firebending. I think we've only got 2 lessons, so it's not going to have it that often. Southern Air Temple is interesting. It's the only one of these that I think might actually work sometimes on its own because it puts a counter on everything, but it's so bad when you have like a blink board. I think we take the Cadets. Don't really think we want this in this particular deck. Is Jets Brainwashing a lesson? No. How to Start a Riot is, and if there's a deck for it, I mean, this is it. +2/+0 to your whole board and Menace to one thing. So I'll pick it up. It is another lesson too. Ooh. So the Fire Sages came back. I'm pretty excited about that. Water Tribe Captain is pretty good. You know, we're going wide. We'd like them, but 2-mana 2/2 Firebending 1. Great place to sink your mana because it gains counters. It's exactly kind of what I'm looking for, pretty much. I probably don't play the Cadets unless I end up with some more lessons. And I don't think we, you know, even though this is one, I don't think we want to play more than one How to Start a Riot. It's just too narrow. You know, in the past when we've seen Trumpet Blast or Inspired Charge work, it's when the card also has something it gives you. Like there was the one that gave you a 1/1 rat for every one of your creatures that died in combat. Yeah, I'll take a Battle Fan. And there was the one that gave you a clue. The Inspired Charge, it gave you a clue. Like when they can do that and still, so you can cast them earlier and you get a card of value back. We're going to have a lot of Freedom Fighters. When you can do that, they're good, but when they're purely just, the only thing this does is buff your board. So you kind of better win the game when you cast it. That's just, it's like a reverse Fog. You know, I always talk about how Fogs are too limited in what they can do. They're not quite as limited as Fog because you have way more control over when this is good, whereas a Fog is only good like when your opponent swings out at you and you can Fog and swing back for lethal. Like that's the dream, but it just doesn't line up that often. Okay. So Hakoda's great. We actually don't have like a ton of allies. Well, we have 8. I lied. I was thinking we had a bunch of like mercenaries and fire kingdom people who aren't allies, but these are allies. So yeah, he's great. Lets you cast stuff off the top. By stuff, I mean allies. But he's also just a 4-mana 3/5 with vigilance that can give himself up to protect your entire board, which is already a playable card. So yeah, he's great. He's pretty much exactly what we want. I don't think that Wrath is good at all in limited. Incidentally, ooh, another Earth Kingdom Jailer. I'm definitely all over that. I wouldn't hate a Sunblessed Peak to help our mana a little bit. Boomy Bash is pretty medium. And Earth Kingdom Soldier is okay, but Earth Kingdom Jailer is definitely better. Also another ally. Okay, so some interesting choices here. We've got a lot of allies. Avatar Enthusiast is maybe pulling itself up from a D to a C- or something. But this is our third pick in Pack 3, and we have things like Fire Sages, Firebending Student, and Glider Kids, which I think are all just better. I think we take another Sages. I just think it's just such a good rate for what it is. It's not an ally like Glider Kids, but Glider Kids is just not as good of a card. Firebending Student, you know, I've seen it go off. If you watch the first draft video, you've seen it go off against us. But you kind of need a lot of prowess stuff to get there. Well, we did get the bonus sheet red-white land, which I think is really good. You know, you can give it up to draw a card, fixes your mana really well. We've also got a Water Tribe Captain. You know, as of now, it's pretty much our only mass pump effect is Water Tribe Captain. We do also have, and that's like a way better one to have than How to Start a Riot because it's also a creature. This is also a removal spell that can buff when we attack alone. I kind of think we just take the really good land, honestly. I mean, it can't be overstated how good mana is, especially when you can just throw it away and draw cards. Do we want to try the Southern Air Temple in a deck that has 3 Treetop Freedom Fighters and a Kyoshi Warriors and a Hakoda and a Suki? And so lots of ways to go wide. I mean, if this is the deck, if there's a deck for it, this is it. But at the same time, I could just take a good combat trick. That's a lesson, and we have a few cards that care about that. It's also mediocre removal. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we can take the Air Temple. It's just so one-dimensional. I don't think we end up playing Fire Nation Cadets in this deck. We probably don't really play like Rough Rhino Cavalry. Earth Rumble Wrestlers aren't going to be that good for us either. I think we need to lower our curve as much as we can, basically. Well, here's a 4th Freedom Fighters. I mean, like I said, I think you just play all of them that you can get. So I would really like to pick up, you know, another Water Tribe Captain would be nice. But, you know, once we have 3 of those, I think our How to Start a Riot that we already have is really good. You don't want Zuko's Exiled. Sozin's Comet is cool, and it's probably what I'm going to take. Why not? But it doesn't do anything on its own, and even once you have a bunch of creatures, there's no guarantee you have anything to spend the mana on, and that's why it's still in this pack, despite being like a cool mythic. People are aware. All right, so I'd probably take Glider Kids over Fire Nation Raider. Man, do I have the fixing to play you? I don't have a ton of spells, but he is really good. We'll take him and see if we can make it work. I kind of doubt it, but yeah, I think this is one of the things that makes the Wrath like the best in the early game is that you can have it in your opening hand, just be like, I'm not going to play anything out, and I'm going to kill everything that my opponent plays eventually, and they won't know what hit them. Well, with that Wrath, it doesn't do anything. So it takes that dimension away. It also takes away the dimension where it's actually a board sweeper because people hold on to stuff. So I do think we probably play our 1 How to Start a Riot. Oh, we already have it in our deck. So we do have White Lotus Hideout. We can run an island. Not sure that's enough for us to feel like we got enough fixing. I'll take an Enthusiast here. Ooh, we do get a Water Tribe Captain back, which I'm very happy about. Kind of makes me think about cutting our How to Start a Riot. So, you know, the Water Tribe Captain's not as efficient at buffing your whole board, right? But it's also a creature. And that is so much better than being a card that does nothing unless you need to buff your whole board because you're going to win the game from it. Well, we get an Air Temple if we really want it. This deck seems pretty good to me overall. We got a nice mix of removal, aggressive creatures. I don't think we can play Sokka, unfortunately. I think our deck's going to be at its best if we're just aggressive and not trying to be, you know, silly with playing Sokka. I mean, if I had decent fixing, I would do it. But I just don't. Like if I had one dual land, but I just don't have it. So it's sad, but it's true. We don't have like any source of treasure. So it hurts, but we're going to say goodbye to Sokka. Probably don't run White Lotus Hideout if we're only a 2-color deck. And so we did end up with a lot of allies in the end. I mean, we have 13. We have 16 creatures. 13 of them are allies, which is great. One thing I could maybe have used more of was 1 and 2 drops. So that actually puts this back on the radar for me, the Fire Nation Cadets. Because we need to have some early drops. We're very heavy in the 3s. I think we probably do cut How to Start a Riot. Probably don't play Cat Owl. It's one of our few non-allies. I think we have enough allies for this to be playable. I mean, I think it's always, you know, I think I give it a D in the set review, and I think that's what it is usually. It's probably more like a C- in this deck right now. Glad I got the Battle Fans. I mean, just because I need the 2 drops, and, you know, they're also allies, which doesn't hurt. Can move the equipment around. We don't have anything that exciting to do with them. You know, we don't have any Airbend or anything, but that's probably okay. I do kind of feel like Avatar Enthusiast is still on the chopping block. Although Fire Nation Attacks might be too. If we're just interested in lowering our curve, I mean, if we're going to do that, it kind of feels like How to Start a Riot comes back online potentially. If we just try to lower our curve and play a bunch of creatures early, it sort of gives us this spike win sometimes. But this card worries me a little because I have Fire Bending, but I've just got it on Fire Sages. Occasionally our Cadets will have it. But if we're just paying 5 for this and then we're paying 9 for it, which more or less is what we're going to be doing, it does get worse. I think we cut it, and then maybe we cut like one of our, like, Enter the Avatar State is the better combat trick for the most part. I could cut Yip Yip and hold on to the other stuff. I think Jet's Brainwashing, you know, it's definitely better probably in a spell deck where you get a trigger for casting a cheap spell, but turning off a block and getting a clue just seems good anyway. So I think I like it a little more than Yip Yip. It also has that big late game threaten upside where you just straight up steal something. Yeah. So let's cut Yip Yip and roll with this. We have 13 allies still, so that's good for Hakoda and friends. Yeah, I think this looks pretty good. There's something to be said for maybe cutting a land when we have almost our whole deck is 3 or less now. We do have a lot of 3s, 10 of them. A quarter of our deck costs 3. So getting stuck on 2 where we can only play, you know, about another quarter of our deck is kind of a problem. Plus we have Water Tribe Captain's activated ability. Plus one of our lands can cash itself in, which already softens the blow of flooding out. So I think we leave in 17 in this case, where we've just got a bunch of 3 drops and an activated ability that costs so much mana. All right, looks like a pretty good opening hand here. We've got a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and a 4-drop. I mean, it's hard to feel bad about that, especially when the 4-drop's one of the best cards in our deck. Okay, so Fire Sages into Enthusiasts. I think we still go Fire Sages. I mean, there's, you know, the Fire Bending. You know, we did draw a different 2-drop, but I think we do play the Enthusiasts. They have their own I think we attack here. I mean, there's no way they can block it. I mean, if they do, we just blow them out because we can buff our sages. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and attack. They'll probably do the same thing to us. We do not use that mana. Then we play our Enthusiast, which does not line up super well here, but if it's still alive, it'll become a 3-3 and then a 4-4. And if we have allies on top, we may go really wild when we play Hakoda. So it's pretty appealing. But yeah, they can do the same exact thing we just did where, you know, there's no way we block. You can kind of time walk them to an extent, like, you know, block, make them do it, but they keep their creature on board and you lose one. So it's not really worth it. So see if they can use that firebending mana some other way. Kind of looks like they can. If they just put a counter on it, we feel great about that, frankly. I mean, you know. Okay. They're just going to hit us for 6. Lots of damage, but I think we're okay with it. Yeah, so we play Hakoda here. There's something to be said for maybe playing Kyoshi Warriors first. It'll buff this twice, right? And, you know, the Warriors and the 3-mana 2-1 we have making multiple bodies does make this, like I said, you know, it's like a C- level card in our deck, I think. So I do think we run out Hakoda here just because it lets us start setting things up in a big way. And, I mean, if they don't kill him, we can kind of run away with it. So let's play Hakoda. Do have an ally on top. Can't cast it. That's okay. We probably end up playing Earth Kingdom Jailer when we draw it. Hakoda is a pain to play against, you know. It's sort of a Mother of Runes-like effect where it's like, okay, I kind of have to kill it, or we're in trouble here. Yeah, so we're just going to take this. You know, there's no way we block with Hakoda or would ever want to. They may make 2/2/2s with firebending here, but I think we're okay with that overall. No? Poxbearers, okay. Good card. And Firebending Student. I have seen a lot of Firebending Student in the few drafts that I've done. Kind of wild. Ooh. So there's some interesting stuff here. I think we probably play the Freedom Fighters off the top and see, maybe we reveal another one. I can't still play Earth Kingdom Jailers is the only problem with that plan. So, I mean, that is a problem. Because I probably need to kill something. But maybe just going Freedom Fighters, Battle Fan, attack with everything is plenty good. Yeah, it probably is. We'll hold on to the Jailers for a turn where maybe it helps us do lethal. We do still play this off the top, yeah, and see what's under it. Okay, knowing we have Jet's Brainwashing on top is pretty good. So, you know, the Enthusiasts definitely better right now than they usually are. Yeah, I think we just rumble with everything. They do have, you know, pretty good trades and stuff, but if we get bodies out of the way, we're happy with it. Like, the Poxbearers can trade for something, and so can the Student. And the Poxbearers isn't even a real trade because they get a token back, but... Yeah, if you have, you know, 5 cards that make more than one ally at a time, Avatar Enthusiast's probably a legit playable. So they're going like the super defensive block route, which is a little concerning. Makes me think they I think they can swing for lethal like right now. Seems unlikely though. They could have the trumpet blast effect, which I think probably means we should block with some stuff, but we'll see. But yeah, we can use this to just steal a creature, probably get in for lethal next turn. I mean, it's even better for a turn than Earth Kingdom Jailer is because we steal their best thing and hit them with it. So if you're going to win that turn, Jet's Brainwashing's even better. So could also do Earth Kingdom Jailer plus Brainwashing just for the creature can't block effect, which is also pretty likely to give us lethal. So I do think we block pretty aggressively here. Like, I'm going to try to hold on to Hakoda if I can, but block the other stuff. Okay, so they do have that. It is an instant, so it's... Oh, they're going to, like, firebend out the wazoo because... Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see what happens here. I think we probably still survive. Like, we're just going to block the really big things. They do have 6 firebending mana once they do. So they can buff the Fire Sages twice or whatever. This does have Menace. But we can still do lethal even if we lose Hakoda here. So that's probably what we do. Because I sort of feel like I need to prevent all the damage that I can because of firebending. And then I have 2 cards that get 2 blockers out of the way. So just having Avatar Enthusiasts and a 2/1 and stuff is going to be enough. Plus, I can sack Hakoda and save these 2 anyway. So, yeah. So we're going to pass the blockers. We'll block here. And then we'll block here. So they've got to put a counter on this, or it dies. If I didn't know I had Brainwashing on top, I probably wouldn't block this way. I'd probably just take one of these creatures. But with Brainwashing on top, we know that we can do reasonably well here. The only scary thing is if I sack Hakoda to save these 2, my opponent might have removal for like our Enthusiast, but we should still have lethal if that happens. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to sack Hakoda. Keep these bodies on board. Thank you for your help, Hakoda. Okay, so yeah, we go Earth Kingdom Jailer on the token. I think we probably have lethal anyway, but... Oh, it is the 3 or greater thing. We do still have lethal, but I'm so used to this feeling like a legit Oblivion Ring that I sort of overlooked that fact. And then we do Jet's Brainwashing. Attack with everything, yeah. Good to remember that it's not a full-on... You know, against that opponent, the Earth Kingdom dude was not that good. Like, they just didn't have anything that cost 3. But we had enough damage anyway. Hakoda was definitely good there. Gave us a 2-for-1, and then let us keep our bodies on board while still trying to avoid taking damage. Which is, you know, kind of what you want. Kind of what you want. He even got an attack in. Okay. Oof. So we don't have any early plays. We do have, I mean, we do have Firebending Lesson, which will let us kill something and theoretically get to the point where we can play these things. It does worry me a little bit needing a third land so badly. But we do have 2 of the best cards in our deck, and we do have a way to interact, like kill their early creature. So I think it's probably keepable. It's not a keep you feel incredible about, but I do think it's keepable. So even if we don't draw a Plains, we can at least play our Water Tribe Captain. Do I just want to kill her? Because she starts letting them loot. I kind of think we do. Yeah, I'm just going to kill her. You don't get as much value as if I kill like a 2 or a 3 drop with it, but, you know, it does the job. All right, so we're going to be able to play Water Tribe Captain next turn. Maybe Suki if we draw Plains. I would rather play the Captain first, though, just because... I'd rather play it first anyway, because then I have this ability online, like if they have a trade. Okay, got a 1-2. Yeah, so I do still think we play our Captain first. And now we probably play Hakoda next turn, although we can think about waiting until we have Avatar State mana, which I don't think is a terrible idea. Because that will allow us to protect him. But unless I draw a land this turn, I probably should still just run him out. Oh yeah, Dragonfly Swarm is good. Luckily for us, they don't have a lesson or any spells in their graveyard, so... Okay. Now that I drew what I did, I think we probably do just play Suki and attack. And then next turn we can play Hakoda and leave up mana for Enter the Avatar State. Yeah. So hit him for 4. Oh no. So Legend of Roku is very strong. Gives him a bunch of value here, and then turns into a very scary creature. So we are going to need to... Yeah, we'll play Hakoda here, because we're going to need to outcard them pretty hard ahead of... I mean, that's going to be hard, because they just played what they did. They've got Firebending Lesson 2 now. We know that. Okay, Earth Kingdom Jailer will allow us to hit this next turn, so that's good. They'll still have drawn the cards, you know, and that part's pretty terrible. But we don't have anything that dies to an unkicked Firebending Lesson, but we do keep it from becoming a creature, and I think that certainly matters. Because the creature it becomes is a 4/4 with Firebending 4 that spits out dragon tokens. And I think that'll be a bigger threat than any of the other possibilities. So if they like try to tap out here to kill Suki, I think we use Enter the Avatar State to save her. Or that. That same thing there. Do they have... I don't think... The boomerang thing is a sorcery, I think, so... That does buff both of them, but it's not like they can attack into Hakoda, so... Oh, really? Really? There's not anything bad that happens if I block here. I'm very surprised they did that. Dude has hexproof. I mean, he's got first strike, so you'd need an insane buff for him not to die. Okay. I think they realized they didn't realize he had flying too, is the only explanation there. And yeah, that is hard to come back from. We've all been there, making a mistake like that, especially early in a format where you're like, okay, at least I can still get in for 2. And then suddenly like, oh wait, that trick just also gave it flying. I mean, they basically turned my 1 mana trick into a 2-for-1 by doing that. And it was already pretty good because we blinked a 5 mana spell. So, yeah. Okay, similar to our last hand, but I think worse because we don't have any interaction either. You know, we at least had Firebending lesson, so we're going to mulligan this one. You can't, in today's limited, keep very many 7-card hands where you have no play before turn 2. All right, so this hand's also bad. You know, hindsight being 2020, that first hand was certainly better. Do I need to go to 5? I kind of think we do. Because I can't play either of these. Yeah, I mean, there's a reasonable chance we draw a mountain, right? And I could decide that it's worth the risk because I get to hold on to 6 cards. And maybe it is, because we do have Hakoda, and he might be able to pull us back ahead from behind, but yeah, I think we keep it. It's not ideal, but going down to 5 is brutal. Yeah, we really need to draw red mana now. Oh, thank goodness. That probably bails us out. Like, if we had drawn a plains there, things would have been ugly. I probably just run out Hakoda. I don't have Enter the Avatar state ready to protect it this time around. So waiting for the mana because I can. If I did draw it now, I probably would just play Freedom Fighters next turn. It's probably where we'd be. Yeah. Maybe not now, since Glider Kids is big enough to make our Freedom Fighters sad. Okay, so yeah, we'll just run out Hakoda here. We have a Fire Sages incoming. So we really don't want them to have removal here. There's an okay chance they do, but if they play like the Aura, we at least hold on to Hakoda's abilities. If it's the Aura removal spell. Obviously, if it's Destroy or Exile or whatever, we're not going to be in good shape, but with the Aura removal, we probably do only hang on to the ability for 1 turn, so, you know, that's kind of a problem. There's a chance we get a card out of it. Okay. Well, we definitely let that happen. We're not going to sacrifice Hakoda to save our 2-1. Do they attack? Okay. Top card, not an ally, but it is a mountain, which is welcome. What should I do here? So this is going to start earthbending, which I don't love. So I could kill it with firebending lesson. I'm going to attack with Hakoda first, because it's not like they can kill him anyway. And we wouldn't have been able to attack with our Freedom Fighters. I'm sort of thinking about playing the Sages for now. Like, if they earthbend once, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, let's play our Fire Sages. I think adding to the board there instead of subtracting from theirs is a little bit better. I'm sure they're about to earthbend. They're in the most ally-centric color pair, after all. And this earth bends every time an ally they control enters. If they don't have an ally here, it's going to feel amazing. But I don't know that we're that lucky. Yeah, so they're actually going to get to earthbend twice here. It would have been nice to be able to leave up my red mana, because if I could have, I would have definitely done it. Obviously enough. To prevent that from happening. Not an ally on top. So I think I attack here with Fire Sages and Hakoda. Maybe not Hakoda, actually, because even with Firebending Lesson, they can block in such a way that they kill him. So, yeah. Because if they, let's say they block with all 4 of their creatures. Kill this. Actually. Might just be better to just attack with Hakoda. Because Firebending Lesson does break up the ability for them to kill him. Fire Sages is interesting. The only problem is... Yeah, you know, I think we do attack with both. I mean, if they just take it, we probably... What do we do? Maybe we kill Haru and play Treetop Freedom Fighters with the rest of our turn. Yeah, that's probably what we end up doing. Use this mana to kill Haru. Add some more bodies to the board. Okay, that is not what they decided to do. So now I probably Firebending Lesson on the Plains. Get rid of their Kyoshi Warriors. Yeah. Does come back. Then we will play our Freedom Fighters here. Add some more bodies to the board. Haru is looking pretty good here. You know, I don't like the starting point on the card very much. 2 mana, 1/1, but... You know, if it was a 2 mana, 2/2 with that ability, I'd think it was really good. And it may be that it needs to be this small to be fair, you know. Because so far, you know, in general, I'd say I thought Earthbending was going to be good, but so far it feels like it's even better than I expected. So, yeah. So we've got Battle Fan on top. We haven't gotten to cast an ally off the top yet. Ooh, gross. The only good news is he can't kill Hakoda. We've only got 4 creatures. Oh, wait. It's an ally, so they can kill Hakoda here. So that gets animated. Yep. Oh, wait. They targeted Fire Sages. Okay. Yeah, we'll take 2. Still no ally on top. Does attacking with Hakoda make sense here? Not really. Yeah, I really need to chain a few allies together to get back ahead in this game, I think. Probably airbend. Oh, they could airbend a token. Oh, or their own thing. Yeah, then they can okay, yeah, no, that's really good. Jet Freedom Fighter is so good with airbending. So now they probably do kill Hakoda, unfortunately, which will make it very difficult for us to catch back up here. It's not impossible. Like, if, you know, we could draw really well and they could draw really poorly. It's kind of what we need. You know, just killing Haru earlier, I think, would have been the right move. Because we'd be in way better shape. You know, just spending the one when we could have to kill it was, I think, the move we wanted to make. Yeah, we knew we were drawing a land, which is not very inspiring. Yeah, we just passed the turn. So they can put the staff on something now. You know, this equipment would be really bad without the airbend trigger, but with it, you know, maybe it's more playable than I was thinking. It does get really good when you have Jet, Freedom Fighter, and Haru in play, for example. Yeah, so they can start hitting us for 6 a turn now. And it'll be lethal next turn, because now they have 8 in the air. So I have to draw a removal or something pretty amazing. I guess Earth Kingdom General, one of those would be good. Could hit Jet with it. Still in a lot of trouble, even if that's what we do, though. Yeah, that will not do it. It has lethal. Well, that game really didn't go well. Our first two, you know, things were sort of firing on all cylinders. And that one, it never really felt like we found a way to build any significant advantage. Like, Hakoda being around for as long as he was and not ever drawing us an extra ally definitely hurt. He tried his best, but we just didn't have any on top. Oh, we did mulligan to 5 in that game, I just recalled. So they're going first. I don't have anything till turn 3. I'm missing red mana. Have Hakoda again, but I still think it's a mulligan. It's just too slow of a hand. Okay, I can live with this. I think we put the planes back. Got the firebending lesson and a couple of battle fans. Can't kill that with firebending lesson. Okay. We're going to play our Fire Sages now. Professor Zay is pretty cool. The discard a card, draw a card of it all, you know. Rumble Arena, a land with vigilance. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't actually have that good of an attack here, which is kind of a bummer, because I could threaten to grow my sages, but it would just be like trading. And I don't think that seems particularly good. Yeah, so I think we just run out the battle fan and pass here. Missing a land drop is not really where I want to be. You know, and they're like smoothing out their draws with Professor Zay. Looks like they're flooding as opposed to, anything else. Boy. That is not where I want to be. So I do have entered the Avatar state now. I think that makes an attack here a little more viable with Fire Sages. So I think we're going to take it. So the question is whether or not they can interact here. Ooh, that is... Okay, so if they have a trick, I can at least use Firebending Lesson to kill the Freedom Fighters. But the fact that they block this way is concerning. I feel like it's better to use the ability and get blown out that way, because there's almost a 100% chance they have a way to stop us. And if they do, that means we go down a card instead of just some mana. So I think we just do this. I think it's our best play, unfortunately. Yeah. That's way better than what would have happened, which is we lose, enter the Avatar state, and don't get anything. Yeah, we'll take 3. Cave of Two Lovers is great. So with our mana problems on top of everything else, it has become very difficult to combat what our opponent is doing here. Do I just play Cadets and Battle Fan? Freedom Fighters also isn't a bad play, but the Cadets can actually block all these tokens. So, yeah, we'll do Cadets, Battle Fan. But yeah, we just starting as behind as we did mana-wise is a problem when they're running out the Cave of Two Lovers and things. Huge creature now. Okay, well, we stopped them from attacking us at all, which at this point feels like a victory. How am I going to kill Mongoose Lizard? That's the question. I can't even kill it with a kicked Firebending Lesson. Be a good thing to steal at some point if we ever reach that stage of the game. I have my doubts that we will, but... Pass the turn. They get to Earthbend here. Vigilance Earthbend. Yeah, just tossing cards with Zay is so good. Like, you just get so much value out of it without having to do very much. So... Definitely not blocking the lizard here. I think we just block like that and take 8, unfortunately. Yeah, Mongoose Lizard and the what's the other one? The one that makes a food, the Black Land Cycler, are both both seem really good. Yeah, we're in another game here where it's just very ugly for the most part. It's going to be better to leave up enter the Avatar state, but it's not really going to do anything either, to be honest. But I will leave it up. It's more likely to do something than Firebending Lesson, but, I mean, they've got 2 menace creatures that have 5 power and a bunch of tokens, so I think we're probably just dead. Won our first 2 games pretty handily. Yeah, we're just going to take it. And that was nice. But our second 2 games were both pretty brutal. Mulliganed in both of them. Didn't help. Maybe we'll get a turn 1 Momo. We haven't gotten to do that yet. This one will be my last early access draft because when I'm recording it, the early access event ends in about an hour. So I got 2 in at least. Would be nice to have a winning record with this one. My early access events haven't gone super well of late. All right, definitely a keeper. 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop. I mean, that alone in a lot of limited formats is just a really, really great way to start a game and can really make your win rate a lot higher. You know, just running it out there. All right. So we will attack for 1 and play Fire Sages. Would like to stop drawing lands now, if I have a choice in the matter. Ooh. I do love Sparring Dummy. We can actually attack with both our creatures here. I guess blocking... I guess Fire Nation Cadets... I'll have 4 mana. So yeah, I can buff both of them enough that if Sparring Dummy blocks, I can kill it, thanks to the Fire Bending from Fire Sages. So we do get to attack with both of these still. But I do love this card. I can't wait to play with it myself. It's just such a good value engine for limited. Block. Would have been nice, but it's okay that they didn't. We'll play our Water Tribe Captain here. Yep, so anytime it mill a land with it, it's like tap, draw a card. And that's pretty good. And if you mill a lesson, it's tap, gain 2 life, put a lesson in your graveyard, which having lessons in your graveyard is pretty good in this format. If we draw another land on our next turn, we are not going to be in good shape. I can tell you that much. Yep, Lightning Strike. Okay, we didn't draw a land, so that's nice. So we're going to have 5 mana, so I'll be able to buff the Sages and play our Battle Fan. Yeah. So hit him for 4. Play the Battle Fan. I mean, we have to... If we draw any more lands at all, it's going to be a pretty big problem for us, I think. Uncle Iroh. Okay. Kind of in business now. So I think... Do I want to attack with Fire Nation Cadets? Because I can threaten to kill either of these when I do. My Cadets will die too if they block with Iroh, but... I think that's okay. The only downside is I won't be able to play Hakoda this turn, but I can still use my remaining mana to buff my Fire Sages. So I think that's an okay option. They do have 1 red up. I feel like that's more suspicious. I think I just let them bounce off of one another here. Because if they block with Iroh, using the ability once and is one thing, but I'd have to use it twice, and that can produce even more of a blowout. So we will play Hakoda now. Another Fire Sages on top. There goes a Turtle Duck. Hakoda might be dead here. You have a lot of cards in hand, and there are certainly cards that can kill Hakoda in red, green, and black. Yeah. So, we will sack him. Okay. Move the Battle Fan. To Fire Nation Cadets seems pretty decent. Yeah, let's move the Battle Fan to our Cadets. And attack them with our Cadets. I only need one buff. Or a trade. I mean, I'm cool with the trade, too. If it's a trade, yeah. Then we'll play Fire Sages number 2. Stick a Battle Fan on it. They have 6 mana now. Oh, God. Seeing that broken Saga and now Boomy certainly didn't help our situation. So, I think we attack with Fire Sages. I'm okay with trading for the land. Oh, interesting. I'm okay with trading for Boomy, too, so... I feel like our deck doesn't have enough... Like, we have the one Hakoda is, like, our big value play, but it seems like everyone else has sparring dummies or, what's it called? Earthbend engines and stuff that we just don't have. Professor Zai in our last game, too, was a nice little value engine for our opponent. We're just over here drawing one card a turn and hoping it's not a land, you know? So, we do have 2 of those. Oh, interesting. What I was going to say is we do have 2 of those, the 3-mana 3/3 that can exile a thing, and they just kind of haven't shown up, or, like, against this opponent, it would be really good against the Moose Lion. So I think I'm going to steal the Moose Lion here. I could just make it so it can't block, but stealing it is way better. I get a clue, which is good. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and steal their Moose Lion. And then I think we can get away with attacking with Fire Sages and the Moose Lion. Yep. I think that works for me. Trading for the land would be fine. They're going to get their Moose Lion back, of course, but... Ooh. Okay. Well, I'm happy to kill the Sparring Dummy, too. I'm less happy that they're also going to have their Moose Lion back, but... Now they've just got one creature, and we are, like, just drawing the 3-mana 3/3 away from... Ugh. So they're going to draw a card here. Speaking of value engines. We'll take 7. Oh my god. Yeah, and the battle fans have felt pretty bad, not gonna lie. You know, I thought that, you know, Monk's Fist in Final Fantasy was perfectly fine. It wasn't great. And if I'd picked up better 2-drops, I probably wouldn't have played him, but we kind of needed more 2s. Yeah. Not good. First 2 games were pretty awesome wins, and the next 2 have been pretty ugly losses. That is for sure. People have just gone really big too fast too. Like the 5-6 Menace and the 7-7 have both sort of felt unbeatable. That's not really where you want to be. Is a card like that feeling unbeatable? They still haven't even used the exhaust on Bitter Work. Yeah, now they will. Yeah, they should have attacked with Toph too if that was their plan, or Toph, I guess is how it's pronounced. There you are. I think you're a little late to the game, unfortunately. But it's good to see you. Of course they have the rebuke. Okay, well, that means we're dead. It's kind of funny. Our first 2 games, it felt like pretty dominant wins, and then the next 3 all felt like pretty lopsided losses. So we went 2 and 3 with both our early access decks. Not exactly where you want to be. I mean, I definitely learned a little bit about the format. It's a small enough sample size that it's not like I can say, you know, things really definitively, but some of my early takeaways are that one of the big ones, I think, is that Earthbending's even better than I expected it to be. Lost a lot to Earthbending. So that's there. It seems like that fact is going to make spot removal worse. Is another thing that is an early feeling I have. But, you know, we'll see how those feelings pan out in the long run. Thanks for watching. I'll be posting some more draft videos of this format once it goes up next week on Arena for everyone. And hopefully we do a little better than 2 and 3.